Hey guys, I know I'm about a minute early, but we got a lot to get going tonight, so I thought I'd go ahead and come on live and get all the preliminaries out of the way, so we can get in here and we can have some good conversation. Because I'll tell you, we've been talking about some stuff today in the last couple of hours, uh, my guest and I'll be honest with you. This whole topic was going to be just a really short little gloss over, but after talking to him at length, I think y'all need to hear what he's got to say. So we're going to bring in a special guest here in just a few minutes. I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank all of you that came in early. I'm not going to go into the preliminaries of all this stuff. I'll talk about it later about who's coming on live and who's doing what, because I want to get into this topic with my guest as quick as I can. So I'm going to read a short little thing, and this is what is put out by the mainstream media on something that before this video is over, I promise you, you're going to say, wow, because it doesn't seem like much right now, but it's going to get worse. Because once again, China threatens the world with another global epidemic known as the coronavirus. It's capable of infecting millions of people worldwide. It's estimated that the virus has already spread to over 20 mainland cities in China. And as you'll see as we go on, this is all old stuff, but it was today. This deadly strain of coronavirus is mostly spread through respiratory transmission and may mutate, causing further spread of the virus. A 30-something-year-old man traveled from Wuhan, China to Seattle, Washington. The unnamed man is being held in isolation. The coronavirus belongs to a family of viruses that cause respiratory disease, such as the SARS disease that we experienced years ago, which also came from China. The coronavirus has a 7-day incubation period, and by then, it's too late. People, by the time you've had the virus and 7 days have passed, it's too late for you. I'm not saying you're going to die, but I'm saying you're fixing to get really sick. The Chinese authorities say that the outbreak resulted in human exposure to wild animals traded illegally in the Wuhan marketplace. Several countries have already found the coronavirus infecting people outside of China. Okay, let me get to it right quick. First of all, this is not what it seems. This is not a virus that came up out of China from the animals. I even read one article today that it came from snakes to birds and all this kind of stuff. Well, we know that the coronavirus is an avian type flu, which is a bird flu. All right, where does all the bird flu come from? It comes from China. But we're going to talk about some stuff tonight, and we're going to get deep into this stuff about where this virus actually came from, who's behind it, who's funding it, who's making money off of it, and why it's happening today at this time in history. So without saying anything else, I want to bring in my special guest, Fight and Defend. Fight and Defend has an extensive record with the authorities in military and in public service. He's got some friends in high places, and he has a lot of information. And for that, I'm going to bring in my dear friend, John, Fight and Defend. So everybody welcome him in here, and we're going to get his take on some of this stuff.
Hello, guys.
How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Doing well.
All right. Well, you heard that spiel that they put out in mainstream media. So let's talk about this coronavirus. Viruses, over the history have killed a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people. And what I understand is a pandemic, in 1917 through, or 1918 through 1919, 50 million people died. 50 million people. In 57 and 58, 2 million people died. 68 to 69, another million died. 2009 and 2010, 12,000 Americans died. And this was all from the flu.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, the flu may mutate, but I think that you and I together have an understanding that we know where this virus came from, and we have the facts to back it up.
Absolutely.
So let's get into this thing, and let's just get started on where it came from.
Well, what I have is
what's better yet, start it off the way you want to, and we'll work into whatever we need.
Yeah. You know, like you said, they're blaming animals. They said it was because they were eating bats. You know, the same old rigmarole crap. If a lot of you remember back in 2015, 2016 or so, Bill Gates talking about the disease X.
Right, disease X. I heard that last year.
That was coming, and it was how much damage it was going to cost. And as I told you, Bobby, you need to think these guys come out and they have this new disease. They know how many millions of dollars it's going to cost to fight it and how many people are going to die from it. This coming from the same people that can't figure out what bathroom to go into. Okay. They're not rocket scientists here. But Bill Gates talked about disease X. Well, the coronavirus was patented in 2015. It was granted in 2018. And the major funders were the World Health Organization and the Bill Gates Foundation.
Exactly. Exactly.
So him and his wife there, Melinda, are the ones that are behind all of this.
And didn't they have a dry run back in November?
Yes, they did. And ironically, they said back in November exactly how many people were going to die, and that's the numbers we have today. You know, kind of like every other dry run, like at the school shootings and you know, all these red flags. Except, unfortunately, this isn't a red flag, and this is going to happen, and it is happening. And we're already being lied to. We know that. You know, China's not giving out the right numbers. The U.S. isn't giving out the right numbers. We're never going to know the right numbers. You know, it's crazy. It really is crazy what's going on.
I have to bring this up, brother. You know, I've heard of patents for a lot of things, but I've never heard of a patent for a virus. But then again, if you're going to weaponize that and sell it to the military, I guess it has to have a patent.
Well, that's what they say. It's a bioweapon.
Wow.
So it has to be patented. And that's how they termed it. You know, like I said, the virus, the patent was granted to Bill Gates funded institute in 2018, gives more credence to the theory it might be a bioweapon. So wow. There you go. They knew back then when they released it that it was going to be a bioweapon.
Well, that's what they've been working on, bioweapons, since the very beginning of modern society.
Right.
You know, they're always looking to kill us. Another way to kill somebody, you know, and they work very, very slowly on trying to preserve life. But, you know, since yesterday, I heard there were 2 people in the United States that were isolated because of the coronavirus. Well, just a little while ago, I find out there's 2 in Minnesota. There's 4 in New York. And there's some in Texas.
There's some in Seattle.
Illinois, around Chicago. I mean, these cases are popping up everywhere. And it's happening pretty quick.
Yes, it is.
I mean, we just heard about this, 2 days ago?
Yeah. The Purebright, it's PIRBRIGHT Institute is the one that's behind this with Bill Gates. And their mission is preventing and controlling viral diseases. Well, they're controlling it. They ain't preventing it. But they're behind this. But one thing I do want to bring up, though, Bobby, and it's just something for everybody to keep in the back of their minds, is the American Truckers Association has said that if we have counties or cities that get quarantined like they're doing over in China, that they will not be delivering food, supplies, or anything to those counties. They've already announced that. They're not going to get involved in this. So not a bad idea to stockpile stuff. You know, if we see the numbers start to really rise here, people may want to think about stockpiling water and food and stuff, just in case your area, the bigger cities, they get quarantined. They're doing it in China. Who's to say they won't do it here?
Well, that's what I was getting at. All of these cases, you know, are in the major cities, you know, like Chicago and New York City and Minneapolis, Minnesota, the bigger towns.
Yeah.
And that's where it's coming from. And the bigger the town, the easier is the spread of the virus.
Yes. Yeah.
The quicker it'll spread. And
yeah, you don't hear some, you know, one individual from some little hick town contracting it and showing up at home, and it ain't going to do any good. You know, Seattle or Houston, it's Chicago. It's all the bigger areas, like you say.
Yeah.
You know, so they want as much bang for their buck as they can get.
And that's absolutely crazy, but I believe it, you know, in my heart. We have so many things that are working against us. I mean, our government and the elite. I mean, think about it like this. Here you've got Bill Gates. This guy's got more money than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He could be anywhere doing anything to make himself happy.
Yeah.
But instead, he's worried about starting a coronavirus that could well turn into a pandemic.
Yeah. But that's what they want. They're like junkies. All right. They'll start off small, say weed, you know, cocaine, what have you. And then you need more. You need the crack. You need, you know, you got to keep going up the chain to get that same high. The further up you go, the less you care about the people you hurt. You know, anybody that's had anybody in their family that was addicted, you know, before you know it, they go from a nice person to they're stealing the jewelry, stealing the checkbooks, stealing the pocketbooks.
Yep.
This is the same thing. These guys are just so evil and so greedy that this is what they need for their high.
And they're backed by every Democrat that's in office.
Yeah.
And that's what's killing me. See, that's just more of the same. You see, and I don't think for a minute that the government doesn't know what's going on. You know, who do we trust?
Not
Who
many.
do we trust?
Not many.
I mean, it's to the point now to where our global society has gotten so crazy, and they're all so power hungry, and they're actually starting to work together, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I went to the Georgia Guidestones a few months ago, and I did a video there. The Georgia Guidestones are a set of stones that were put up by someone, we don't know who he was, back in the early 60s. And it told of how we needed to reduce Earth's population to 500 million.
Yes.
To a controllable number.
Controllable.
Okay? Controllable. That's the key word there. Yeah. And so what did Schiff say just today or yesterday? He said, we need to have the population of 500 million. And here it is. Now, you've seen it on the Georgia Guidestones written by somebody anonymous. And now you're hearing, and not in my opinion, but in Pelosi's opinion, the most powerful Democrat in Washington, Adam Shifty Schiff, saying that we need to reduce our numbers to 500 million.
Yeah.
Now, how does that correlate? How does that all come together? It's the new world order, my friends.
Yeah. If you listen closely, you know, they'll slip up, or sometimes it's intentional, you know. Yeah. But I mean, we all know Agenda 21, Agenda 30, 21's getting close. They're behind because of Trump. You know, they need to make this man disappear, plain and simple. He has sidetracked their whole cause. So they need to come up with some huge red flag. Like I said, the impeachment trial isn't going the way they wanted. Virginia didn't go the way the politicians wanted it to go. You know, they can't keep with these little ones. They need to move up. So here we are. Here we are.
Yep, here we are.
So.
And so what, are we going to have another pandemic like we had in 1918?
It's possible.
Are we going to have 500 million people die?
It's possible. Well, like I said, I didn't get a chance to bring up the link, but they showed on the news tonight over in China. They literally have 25, 30 excavators on a plot of land They're digging around the clock. They're trying to build a hospital in 5 days for all these people.
Well, you know, actually, I'm gonna read this because a lot of people don't understand the difference in an epidemic and a pandemic. I didn't for a long time. But in our world today, we're facing the horrific reality of another possible pandemic like the dreaded H1N1 virus outbreak in 1918. Now, this virus is called the H5N1. So this one is higher up the scale. You know, in late 1917, military reported the onset of the new disease with an extremely high mortality rate. They called it simply the flu. Due to overcrowded military camps and hospitals were ideal sites for spreading the H1N1 respiratory disease worldwide in a very short period of time. Over 500 million people were infected, and over 50,000 soldiers died during this outbreak. That's more soldiers that died of the virus than actually died in war. So you see where I'm going with this? This thing can kill more people than a war can.
Oh, absolutely.
The death rate was over 50,000 or 50 million worldwide, and that's 1/3 of the world population at the time. So 1/3 of the world population died between 1918 and 1919.
Yeah.
1/3 of the world's population.
And to think now we're packed tighter together than we've ever been.
We had right here in the United States, and you don't hear about it, but back then in 1918 to 1919, we had 675,000 Americans die from the same flu on our own soil. Over 500,000 people died.
That dang assault flu, you got to watch out for that.
And these people aren't kidding around.
And they talk about guns killing people. Hey, the coronavirus are a family of viruses that affect a wide range of different species, including humans, cattle, pigs, chickens, dogs, cats, and wild animals. Until this coronavirus is identified, there are 6 different coronaviruses known to infect humans. 6. So this is huge. 4 of these could cause a mild common cold type illness, but since 2002, the coronavirus there has been an emergence of 2 new coronaviruses that can affect humans and result in a more severe disease. So your first 4 were a trial run.
Yep.
And these 2 now, and it talks about SARS and MERS. That's all part of it.
Right. They're progressing as they go.
Yes. Yep. So they've been doing this since 2002. They've been playing with this.
And now you have Bill Gates, one of the richest men in the world, and his wife heading this whole thing up.
Yeah.
Now, why would the richest man in the world want so many people to die? It makes no sense. But then again, they're more controllable.
They're evil. Well, that's what it is they need to get us down in population to be able to control us. Right now, they can't. Listen, Virginia, all the guys that went to Virginia, all our brothers and sisters, they just proved that. You know, you got Northam there praising himself and his law enforcement for doing such a fine job controlling the group. That idiot doesn't have a clue. It was our people that decided not to do anything. If they had wanted to do something, they would have run roughshod right through them. But they didn't. Sure. They didn't. But, you know, they play it up, patting themselves on the back. It was all us.
It was all Northam's planning that saved the day.
Yeah, look at me.
He kept those terrible patriots at bay.
Yeah. And what they don't realize is, when I went through the academy years ago, they always told us law enforcement was the largest gang in the world. Now that I'm older and I'm into this side of it, because I've seen all of it, they ain't even close to the largest gang in the world. Things are calm because we choose to keep things calm.
Yeah.
When we no longer choose to keep things calm, hang on for a wild ride.
And it's coming to that.
It's coming to that. Absolutely.
It is. I mean, and I'm going to reiterate again, why in the world would Adam Schiff say we need to reduce the world's population to 500 million if it wasn't somewhere in their plan?
Absolutely.
I mean, these people, that's one thing about the cabal and the evil on the left it's almost like a prerequisite that they have to tell us what they're going to do.
Oh, they do. Listen,
Yeah.
they tell us via the TV, the news. They tell us on Hollywood.
Right.
So
I've always said since I was young, everything you see on TV, if it's on TV, they already have it.
yeah. God bless America said, she brought up, it's no longer Democrats versus Republicans, it's good versus evil. And that's exactly where we're at.
Armed American Patriots, a very good friend of mine. Both of them are, he and she, and they are good people.
Yeah.
And if y'all see anybody in here that you don't know, check them out, pick them up, subscribe to their channel. We've got great people in here. The Conservative Patriot, God Blessed America, 710 Oil, Upside Down, got you, brother. Patty Toth White, 2Q, Cheshire Cat, Margot Dahlgren. Yet Democrats are allowing thousands of illegals in. Yeah. But you don't see that these viruses, you don't hear nothing about them in Mexico or any of the South American countries. You haven't heard of any outbreaks there. The outbreaks that you hear about on this new coronavirus are in the major metropolitan areas. And that's the way you spread a disease, is to go to the metropolitan areas. You don't take it down to Venezuela and give it to the peasants. You give it to people in the major cities and the metropolitan areas, and it's passed by respiratory. So all you have to do is breathe. Get on an elevator, get on a subway or a bus, or get in a car with someone, or even just be at the counter paying for your food. If this thing goes full blown, you'll be safe nowhere. You'll be safe nowhere.
And you know what's scary? They mentioned here too, the animal or origin of the new coronavirus is not known yet. So they don't know if people can catch it through eating bad meat or say, chicken or steak or what have you. They don't know yet how it's going to affect people by eating the animals.
So we only know right now that it's respiratory.
Correct.
But it could be as well as devouring the flesh of those animals.
Yeah. Like I always say, I always go back. I remember Henry Kissinger saying it. You control the food, you control the water, you control the people. Our water is polluted. I mean, all these, E. coli's and everything going on with, the bird flu and the swine flu and stuff. It's nuts.
Hey, Manny, glad to see you. Hey, DM, Conservative Patriot. I just want to say hey to you guys. I just now saw you in here, Manny, American Warhorse, and Luciano. Glad you're here. But this pandemic thing, I'll tell you, it's one of the scariest things that's come along in a long time. They're playing it down. They're acting like it's just nothing.
Well, they want the people to be asleep.
Yeah. But now, yesterday there were two cases in America.
Yeah.
And I just named off 9 more today.
Yeah. They're running
How many is there going to be tomorrow?
They're
18, 36?
Well, that's it. We don't know. And how many people will be just misdiagnosed as the flu?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's common cold.
Yeah. Exactly. How many? I mean, it's been going on for a little while here. How many people have said that they've been told they have a flu, but none of the antibiotics are doing anything for them?
That's true.
They're ending up going back to the hospital.
Yeah. I had a bout of the flu back a few months ago, and it took me like a month to get over it.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was like no flu I'd ever had before.
Yeah. Real quick, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation co-hosted a pandemic exercise in 2019 that simulated a global coronavirus outbreak. They also just happened to fund the group who owns the patent to the deadly virus and are working on the vaccine to solve the crisis. So let's make it and let's solve it.
And while they're making it, let's do a scenario to see how many people are going to die.
Absolutely.
And after so many people die, well, maybe we'll let out the antidote or the remedy. So they're working on a cure, but right now they're not really worried about the cure. The main thing is going to be to get this out into the world.
Well, like I said, they've got a cure. We'll never see it because we're not that high on the food chain.
Yeah, those in high places will have the treatment. Yeah, you're
Absolutely.
exactly right. Yeah, you'll have your Hillarys and your Pelosi's and Schiffs and Schumers, and probably a lot of Republicans too. They'll be there. They'll be able to get their dose long before the public ever hears of one.
Absolutely. And then you got in November of 2019, Peer Right Institute website published an article focusing on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funding of a livestock antibody hub to the sum of $5.5 million they've invested
Into a livestock antibody hub.
Mm-hmm. To see how it affects the animals.
Well, there you go. Mad cow disease.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think for a minute that came from cows.
No. Listen, Plum Island. A lot of people don't know Plum Island. Some do. When Plum Island got shut down in New York and they moved out to the Midwest, no sooner did they move out there, we had mad cow disease, the swine flu, the bird flu. It was running rampant, and everything quieted down over in New England, where we had the West Nile virus, we had Lyme disease.
Right.
It's crazy. It really is. So we start off with Lyme disease. Yeah, you get joint pain, this and that. And, the next thing you know, they had a ticks up in northern Maine and stuff carrying a Lyme disease that could kill you, literally kill you.
Right.
Where the heck did that come from? So there's so much to it. They're just playing with this to figure out where they need it.
Think about the movie, The Island of Dr. Moreau. Okay, remember that show? The Island of Dr. Moreau was where a doctor and his assistants were on an island, and they were making hybrids and creatures and things that shouldn't be alive. And so he was creating a monster island, and that's what they're doing in essence, is they're building monstrous things that we can't even see that will kill us.
Yeah.
But they're more powerful than any monster you would ever meet, because it's going to attack you. You're not going to know you've been attacked until it's too late and you're dying. And this is what they want. They want death worldwide.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got to get our numbers down to control us. CLC in Florida just talked about the survived cancer because they get the drugs as they hold it back from the public. They actually just read an article the other night that it was overseas. They just accidentally solved several different cancers. They were testing a gene for something else, and they happened to come across this. And now I go and look for it, and you can't find it. It's already off the computer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my brother, Stony Stone, he says that Bill Gates has all the patents on all of it. And we are not his friends. And you're right about that, my brother. We are not his friends.
I don't doubt that at all.
It's far too freaky and mind-boggling, said Linda. But let's see. Going to disagree, Bobby. It's as deadly as Godzilla. You got that right, Iron Crane.
DM,
Ruth, got that right.
Ruth B. Ginsburg. I mean, there's a woman. How is she still breathing? Ginsburg. Now she's clear of cancer. Are you kidding me? At her age,
twice. Within a year.
Yeah. I know people half her age who have died from the same cancers.
So now let's start this. Pancreatic cancer is what she had, right? The second time.
The second.
Yeah. Pancreatic cancer. Patrick Swayze.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have enough money to survive it. Michael Landon. He didn't have enough money. Little Joe from Bonanza. He didn't have enough money to fight it.
Crazy.
Okay. But yeah, you have Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's 85, 86 years old. She should have been put to pasture long ago.
Yeah.
She's frail, and she's had 2 bouts of cancers, and both cancers were cured within a matter of weeks.
Yep.
Now, if her cancer can be cured within a matter of weeks, then why can't my sister's ovarian cancer be cured?
Exactly.
Why can't my mother's breast cancer be cured?
Cured.
Yeah. Yep. If we can cure the elite, why can't we cure everyone?
Hey, George Soros is 89 years old. You can't tell me that man's never had cancer or anything.
How in the world can you be 89 years old and still do the things that he does?
Exactly.
That's what people don't want to understand.
Yeah.
What's going on in this world? This world is ruled by a group of elites.
Yeah. Warhorse brought up a valid point, and it's true. They want to keep Ginsburg alive to keep the POTUS from naming another judge.
Pete the Patriot's in the house. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, Pete. Now, I like coming on after you at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoons because you always send people to me, and I really appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
You know,
Pete, you're a great guy.
Another thing, too, is Luciano said we have the cure for everything. You know, a lot of the stuff that's out there, there's a cure naturally. And if you start looking into all these naturalists and herbalists and stuff that have died over the years from suicide or that one woman there that was shot by the cop and stuff, there's something to that. They don't want any of this natural stuff. They refuse. I mean, me, myself, you know, I told you about all my surgeries after I got hurt, and they want me doped up, and I will not do it, and they will not give me any help. And I've asked about going to medical marijuana, and they refuse. Absolutely refuse. They want me on the pharmaceutical garbage.
Right. CLC in Florida. My heart goes out to you, sister. She says, my husband died in my arms from cancer. So this really pisses me off. I know he didn't have to die. There is a cure, and there is. I believe it in my heart. There is a cure for cancer. Absolutely. There's a cure for diabetes. There's a cure for almost every disease you can think of.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're not giving it to us.
Because, yeah, no, they're not. We don't rank high enough on the food chain. Listen, we're just guinea pigs, plain and simple.
I mean, stop and look at Trump.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's, what, 70 years old now? He looks 50.
Orange.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter what his color is. I mean, look at him. He's got the money to stay healthy.
Yeah, it goes to show you, you know, we're just the peons, basically.
And don't get me wrong, I love Trump, but he's still, in my opinion, he is still part of the elite. And, you know, he's working on a lot of stuff. He's really doing good on you know, our national security and things like that, and tariffs with China and all this kind of stuff. But I want to see something really done. You know, why are we allowing Bill Gates, you know, to even bring this thing into fruition?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is he allowed to create a virus that can kill half of humanity, all for a military contract?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I know. It makes you wonder, you know, like we discussed before, this goes so deep that to try to figure it all out, it would take literally hundreds and hundreds of people together to try to figure this all out. And there's so much evil out there, you know, and these people, I can picture these people just sitting back and rubbing their hands together and, you know, how many more are we going to kill? And, you know, I mean, listen, when they talked about Obamacare, you know, and the death squads with the older people deciding who lives and who dies.
Exactly. They don't want the very young and they don't want the very old.
No, they want the workers in between. And that's all that they want.
Yeah. And because tomorrow doesn't matter to them. It's all about today.
And then once we're gone, you know, because they don't want the old, they don't want the young, they want the middle age to work. Once we're gone, then you open up the floodgates at the border and let them all come up thinking they're going to live this wonderful American dream, and they'll be next. And they don't even see it.
Yep. And then we'll have 1864 all over again, slavery. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, is power.
It is.
And people get mad at me because I'm always talking down the Democrats, and I'm going to talk them down until the day I die. And it's not just because they're Democrats. I could care less that they're Democrats. The problem is that they're Satanist, leftist, progressive, socialist that want to downfall this country. And that is all of it in a nutshell. I do not think that there's one demon rat in our government that really wants to see America succeed.
Oh, no.
I mean, look what Obama did. when he was in there. He gave away everything. You know, he gave away money. He gave away land. He gave away property. He gave away everything.
Yep.
Because he was a coward.
Oh, absolutely. And he bowed down to them and kissed their feet, for God's sakes, for the most part.
That's right. If I kiss your feet and give you what you won't hurt me, will you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't hurt me. Poor little limp-wristed Obama. You know, when I saw that video of him exercising, going up and down that 3-step staircase he had there, holding a 1-pound weight in each hand. I mean, come on, brother. If all you can do is carry 1 pound in each hand up and down 3 steps 10 times, you're not in shape.
Well, he had Michelle to lift the heavyweight.
Well, Michael was in a lot better shape than he was.
Exactly.
And that's another story we can talk about.
No,
the Michael Michelle Obama. But I used to do conspiracy theories a lot back when I was doing videos, and I got away from it. But I'll tell you what, I may have to get back into it sometime because some of these things are so much fun to talk about.
The one in Texas is Brazos County, Brazos. Brazo County in Texas is where the health district is investigating a suspected case of the coronavirus. Brazo County, Brazos.
Let me ask you this. This thing just broke out just a few days ago, the news. Now, why is it we have cases in Texas and Illinois and Minnesota?
It's been
New York.
It's been here.
Exactly.
It's been here. They needed to get it seeded before they told us about it.
Hey, Joshua Conlon, God bless America. Lynn, Jeff B., glad you're here, guys. Stony Stone. If you have cancer, you need to get a hold of the doctor, this doctor. He will fix you. My mom would not let me take my dad here. He did not make it. Research. Good man.
Think about it.
Wow. I was just looking at the chat there for a minute.
Right. Think about it, Bobby. Okay. If this just came out like they said, and there's only a few people in the United States that have it, it's too easy to quarantine them, and that's it. The virus is done in the U.S.
Exactly.
All that money was spent for nothing. They need to get it planted, get it running around, and then come out with the surprise.
Yep.
There's a lot more people that have it than what they're saying.
Oh, I believe that, and I believe they've had it here for a little while too.
Well, they've been playing with it since 2002.
Yeah, and you've got the richest man in the world backing him.
Yep.
I mean, he's got the best scientists, the best equipment. He's got everything that a man needs to create a world pandemic.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe he's like Nero. You know, Nero burnt Rome. You know, maybe Gates wants to burn the world. You know, maybe he's in cahoots. I don't know. I'm sure he's not alone. I'm sure he has many of the cabal on his side.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, he's got the World Health Organization behind him.
Exactly. And that goes all the way to the UN. And there we go again, people.
There you go. The puzzle.
Now we got the UN involved in a pandemic.
The puzzle is coming together.
See, and the more pieces that fall, the easier it is to see what the picture really is.
There you go.
And that's a good analogy. You know, we've all put together jigsaw puzzles. You know, and we know what the picture's supposed to look like.
Yep.
But now we got to put it all together. Well, we know what this picture looks like too. We've seen it too many times. But this time, it could be a lot worse.
Oh, absolutely.
Our population has increased to the point to where it's almost impossible to not interact with other people.
Yeah.
And that's all you have to do is be in the same area to catch this stuff. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not trying to scare people. But the fact of the matter is we have a problem that started because of Bill Gates and his wife. And now we're having to deal with the consequences.
Absolutely.
I mean, was a military contract really worth it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you've got billions of dollars, why do you need a contract? Go sit on a beach and have a Mai Tai cocktail and
listen. It's that rush of control. They're adrenaline junkies.
I guess if you have that kind of money, you're just so bored,
Yeah.
that you got to think of a way to, how can I get more power?
It's all about the rush. Adrenaline. Listen, like I said, my time in the fire service, that wasn't enough for me. So I went into law enforcement. That wasn't good enough. So I got into gangs, and then I got into narcotics, into homicide. That was it. I ran out. It's time to leave.
Well, yeah.
You always keep going, climbing that ladder higher and higher and higher for that better fix, as they say.
Yeah, always. Yeah, exactly.
Jose Dez says there's 3 in France. Has that been confirmed?
Oh, okay. Wow, man. Thanks for that. Yeah. There's probably more all over the world that we haven't heard from.
I'm sure there is.
I mean, just all of a sudden in the last 2 days, planes have been leaving Yahweh, China, and wow, just all of a sudden this stuff's popping up everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like we were talking, there's so much going on right now that we can't even keep up with things from the recent past. That it's almost like old news. There's so much of this going on. We forget that we were just playing games with Iran.
Exactly. But see, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Now we had the bombing, we had now the impeachment.
Yeah.
And that's not going so well for the Democrats.
And then Virginia.
And so now it's time for another crisis.
Yeah.
You see, it's one crisis that just flows into another. There's no break in between. There's no peace.
Keep the people.
There's no tranquility. It goes from one to the other, like it's flowing down a river. And there's people behind it making this happen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you, my friends, it's the Democrats that are doing it. Not saying there probably are some rhinos in there getting their hand greased and making a few bucks off of it. People like maybe Lindsey Graham, who I don't trust for a minute. And so we have to be aware of who these people are and what they're doing. But we have to understand before any of that we have a problem in America, and we're going to have to depend on each other and ourselves to get through this. Because we're not going to get what we need from the government.
No.
So we're going to have to depend on each other to get through this kind of stuff. You can go get your shots, whatever medicine they want to give you, but
do you trust the shots?
That's what I'm saying. If they want us dead, we're going to be dead either way.
Right.
And I believe in my heart that this is nothing but one more way to cull the population.
Well, me, Bobby, I'm not very religious, but I'd say make right with your maker. Everybody.
Well, you better stay right with your maker.
Yeah, because we don't know where things are going to go. I mean,
and to say that a different way, it says, "No man knoweth the time when he cometh." And I'm going to tell you, it's getting so bad in the world today that it wouldn't surprise me if he came right now.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, "Oh, we're no worse than the other societies before us." Well, yes, we are. We're murdering babies on a daily basis by the thousands. We're condemning people just because of their color. We have racism in this country. It's prevalent. Well, we have all the gangs and all the violence.
Right. Yeah, but who's the ones that's pushing that? It's not us.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And
that's where I was going. We have an evil in this country, and it is the left. I'm not even going to call them Democrats. It's the left. They're so far out there that there's no way back for them. And I'm going to be the last person in the world to reach my hand out to one of them and say, "Come with me." No, I'm not going to do that. If they come to me and they say, "Hey, man, I've been a fool," I'm going to say, "Yeah, you have. Okay, we'll deal." But I'm not going to go out there and try to recruit these Democrats to come over to our side. I'm waiting for the time when all this comes to fruition, brother. You know as well as I do, with your background. We get through this pandemic, and it is going to be a pandemic. I mean, come on. Mark my word. I'm not making a prediction. I'm not psychic. But this is going to get bad.
Yep.
And it's going to be real bad for the young and the old.
Yep.
And I'm one of the old, and so are you. So that's what they're looking to get rid of, is us, because we're not the workers. You know, we're more of a detriment to their society. You know, we're leeches on their society.
We're the ones that are ready to collect from the system, but there's no money to collect from.
When I was a kid, I was probably 5 or 6 years old. I never will forget it. My grandmother was listening to the radio, and somebody put out one of those crazy things that they were going to kill everybody over 50 years old and all this kind of stuff, you know. She was bent totally out of shape. She thought they was going to come door to door and kill them. Well, see, they don't have to come door to door to kill you.
No.
All they got to take is this one little spore and put it in the air. That's all they got to do.
Chemtrails.
One little spore. Infect one animal, infect one person, and you have a pandemic that destroys the earth. I'm not saying everybody's going to die. But in 2018, with the swine flu, actually, it was called the Spanish flu, the H1N1 virus. 500 million people. That's a lot of people. 50,000 U.S. soldiers died in a hospital from the flu.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen now? How many people do we have now? 7 billion?
Yeah.
So what is 10 million dead?
Well, you know, like we were saying, you know, it was equivalent to how many died during the Vietnam War, pretty much. And we didn't need the war.
That was a stupid thing to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
When Kennedy was president, he had 60 advisors in Vietnam, advising the South Vietnamese on how to fight, like we do in Afghanistan and Iraq as advisors. Boots on the ground, but not doing actual combat. He got assassinated by Lyndon Johnson, and he became president, and he sent 600,000 within the first year. 600,000 men, from 60 to 600,000.
Yeah.
And you see that, and he knew what he was doing.
Absolutely.
That's why Kennedy was killed, because he wasn't playing the game.
Well, I've always said all along, Vietnam was for heroin.
Oh, and so was Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Why do you think they call Poppy Bush Poppy Bush?
Yeah.
He was called Poppy Bush because he protected the poppy fields in Afghanistan.
And they still are.
And they still are.
They still
That's right.
are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Poppy Bush. That's why he was called that name.
You know, we had just had that discussion that time. I had talked to a friend of mine who used to be in with the alphabet groups, and they had said that the government had a beetle that could destroy the poppy crops, but our government refused to release it because that was their main source of income.
Sure. Yeah.
So we don't want to ruin their economy, but they let it kill ours and kill our people.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. So, you know, they're going to keep their economy going and protecting their poppy fields so they can produce heroin, send it to this country, and infect our people here in America with the addiction of heroin and overdose, murder, you know, all of it. You get the crime, you know, you have the drug dealers. It escalates. It's not just the heroin that's coming to America. It's the people who bring it, people who break it down, the people who sell it, the people who put it on the streets, the people who put it in the hands of your children.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's a bigger picture.
But
it goes all the way to the top.
It's a huge picture, I can tell you that.
And it goes all the way to the top. If you think for a minute that our government has not got their hands in all of this dirty stuff, then you got your head in the sand.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that. I don't want to call anybody an ostrich. But you have to open your eyes. You have to have ears to hear and eyes to see the truth when it's right in front of you.
Yeah.
And stop listening to all this right, left crap, and just go to the right, and don't worry, you know, about what the left's doing other than to know so you can defeat them. Don't buy into none of their garbage. Don't listen to what they have to say.
No, we can't. As I say, you know, everybody's watching the right hand. It's the left hand that'll come up behind you and stab you in the back.
Well, you know, and that's one thing I've seen all my life is you really can trust Very few people. And, you know, but when it comes down to something like this, when we're talking about our government and we're talking about millions of people dying, this is really a very, very serious operation that we're looking at. But it's all been orchestrated. You see, that's the whole thing. This has all been planned out. This was planned out in 2002.
Yes.
When they started working on this, this is what they were working towards, and now they have achieved it.
Well, you know, like we were saying, they called it, you know, SARS and stuff back then, and now it's been called the coronavirus. But,
and,
you know,
and every time it gets worse.
Yep. You know, like I said, with Gates coming out a couple of years back and talking about this disease X that they knew about, but nobody else knew about. They knew how much it would cost, how many people were going to die from it. Think about that.
Now, where did he come up with this disease X idea?
Exactly.
Because he knew what he was talking about.
Yep.
Because he was funding the research to do this.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Him and the World Health Organization.
Yep, the WHO. It's nuts. Really
Philip says, do any of you believe that they'll build that hospital in China in a week? Well, let me put it to you like this. I don't know how big the hospital is going to be. And I'm not talking bad about anybody, but like I told my friend Fighting the Finn, you go down the road and you see the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they'll bring a bulldozer in, they'll clear off a piece of land, and then within 7 days, they'll have that thing erected and open for service. So with the people that they have in China, yeah, they might just be able to build it in a week. But there again, what's going to be the longevity of that building? How many corners are they going to cut? You know, how many things are they going to do that they shouldn't do just to get it built? So, yeah, they may build it.
But think about it. You really think it's going to be a hospital, or is it just going to be a quarantine center to die from?
Yeah, probably a quarantine center, and more than anything else. Yeah, you're going to have you're going to have rows and rows and rows of beds, but once they're full, they'll just start killing them. I mean, come on, China is no better than the devil, and you know that. They hate their own people.
Right.
They're not above killing their own people. I mean, they could kill half of their population and still have more than we have.
I know.
But see, there again, there you go into the government leaders. These people have way too much power.
Yeah.
They do. Since when should somebody have control over if I live or die? On a daily basis.
Here's an article from Forbes magazine back in February of 2017. Bill Gates warns of epidemic that could kill over 30 million people.
And that was in
2017. This was in Forbes magazine.
See, I told you, everybody, I told you. The cabal and this far left that we've got going on, because they belong to Satan. And they really do. I believe a lot of them are actually Satan worshipers.
Yeah.
They've given their heart to Satan for whatever they can have in life. You know, but there again, who else would have said in 17 that they're talking about an epidemic or a pandemic if you don't already know what you're talking about? We're going all the way back to 2002, you said, John, and they started this stuff.
Well,
they've had 18 years to perfect this.
Yeah. Here's another comment. Bill Gates warns tens of millions could be killed by bioterrorism.
This is all Bill Gates.
Yeah, this is right from Bill Gates. Ain't that a coinky dink?
Bioterrorism. Sounds like a plan to me. What better way to kill people? I mean, come on, you can walk into a bus station and make one little spritz spray out of a sprayer and infect the whole place.
Yeah. Scary.
I mean, this is scary.
It really is.
I guess it's a good thing that I'm a homebody and I don't get out much.
Yeah. Pretty soon, none of us will get out much.
Yeah, when we all start wearing face masks and everything like the Chinese do. Now you know why they wear that. They say it's for the smog
Yep.
over in China. You know, well, it may be for that, but I guarantee you it also has a lot to do with these dang viruses that they've got going rampant over there in China.
I got a Getty image photo right here, and it's Bill Gates' dad hanging out with a few of his friends. Ted Turner, George Soros, and the Rockefellers.
How about that?
Ain't that a quinky dink too, huh?
Wow.
All in the same picture.
Ted Turner,
George Soros, and the Rockefellers.
Well, I guess the rich hang out together. But what else do they do together? Yeah. Are they also part of the Berenberger group? You know, I mean, we've got all these cults and groups, and you know these elite people are going to be parts of that. You know, they have their own clique. Don't think for a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
That, you know, us guys, we hang out, you know, we have clubs and we do stuff together, you know, albeit if it's just a bowling league, but we do stuff together. Well, so do they. But what do they do when they get together? What do they talk about? We talk about what's going to happen next week in our lives. They talk about how can we do this or how can we do that to society to make it better for us? Like, how do we kill 500 million people and make it look like you know, an accident?
But you know what though? They're not even making it look like an accident anymore. That's what's scary. They're getting very brazen and bold. I mean, this information's not that hard to come up with, and it's getting scary. You know, they've gotten so evil. It's almost like fear porn.
Harley Rob Patriot. Yeah, you're right. Ted Turner is an atheist. I used to know one of his daughters years ago when I was a whole lot younger, and he was an atheist back then. Yeah, tactical technician. We got together and I had bad chili. He came down to Georgia the other night, and I met him the next morning, and I had me some scattered, smothered, covered top dice and whatever else I could get on there. And the chili was terrible. So, yeah. But it was good to meet tactical technician, and he comes to Georgia quite often, so we'll get to see him again. Maybe next time we'll do a video or something when he's here. But my dear friend, Fight and Defend, we've got about 3 minutes left. I try to stay within my hour. So if you have some last minute words, just go right ahead and take us out of here.
Well, personally myself, I'm just going to keep low key, stay out of the mall, stay off the planes, and sit back and see what happens with this. Like I did say in the beginning, though, I would really think about, you know, just, you don't have to get crazy, but stock up on a little extra food and water and prescriptions or anything like that, because if they were to quarantine an area, the Trucking Association has said they are not going to send trucks there.
That's right. Yeah.
So the shelves will run dry. So we have to watch this close. We have to watch the numbers.
That's right, because it can be an epidemic or a pandemic in a small town,
right,
or a large town. So
I don't think they're going to waste the money in a small town. I think it's going to be the bigger cities.
Oh, of course, that's where they're going to start, but it'll eventually spread if it takes hold. Got food, water, and ammo. I'm good, said Old Broad.
There you go.
That's all you need. I've got my weapons right here, and yeah, I stay locked and loaded, and I keep my powder dry. American Warhorse, Lynn M. Liberty Smith, good to see you, brother. Lynn M. God bless America. Manny, American Warhorse. CLC in Florida. Old Broad. Harley Rob Patriot. Margot, Tactical Technician. Philip Turner. Lynn M. DPFX 99999. 2Q2Q. Conservative Patriot, God bless America. Joshua Conlon, Philip Turner, Jose Perez, Iron Crane. Man, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you coming. Stony Stone. Can't make this shit up. Actually, I'm sorry I said that, DM. I meant to say can't make this shite up. It just slipped out, DM. I'm sorry. I don't normally say those kind of words, but I was trying to read it and it just sort of fell out.
DM shaking the cuss jar right now.
Yeah, I will have to come up with some money.
Thank you, CLC, by the way.
Okay. All right, everybody. It's fixing to be 9 o'clock. I want to thank y'all for coming. I want to thank my guest, Fight and Defend. We had no intention of doing this stream together tonight. I was planning on doing this by myself, but we got to talking on the phone about an hour before the show, and we got into this topic, and I thought it'd be a good topic for us to bring tonight. Everybody's talking about it, but they're not talking about the nitty-gritty like Fight and Defend and I hopefully talked about tonight. So I hope I gave you some stuff that you haven't heard, if you believe it or not. I hope it's something you haven't heard and it's new something for you to think about.
Yeah.
And as we get out of here tonight, I want to thank everybody for coming. Sunday morning, 11 a.m., I'll be doing a Bible study. Sunday night, Dangerous Deplorables at 8 p.m. Remember Knight's Armory and DM. I don't know if she's going to be going with Ashley or somebody else, but she's still going to be going live at 9 p.m. on Saturday night, I think. And Knight's Armory after her at 10. Disabled Vets Perspective at 7 before I go live at 8. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank my brother, John, Flight and Defend. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll get together again, my brother.
I'll keep you posted.
All right, keep me posted, brother. Let's stay in touch.
Absolutely.
And I love all y'all. Thank you for being here. We're going to call it good night, and I'll talk to you later.
No.
Oh, shout out the Watchful Warrior and Cheshire Cat. Okay, I did. I forgot them earlier. Watchful Warrior and Cheshire Cats.
Philip,
all right, we'll check them out a little later. All right, don't forget American Joe either.
Yeah, Old Dogs, Children, and Watermelon and Wine.
That's right.
Tom T. Hall.
All Dogs and Children and Watermelon Wine.
Absolutely.
Good night, people. I love you.
Hello.
See y'all Sunday morning.